More and more people are finding cemeteries extremely interesting, not only tourists but local citizens doing genealogy. Today we're at Brookside Cemetery, one of Fayetteville's most important African American cemeteries that chronicles the early history of those African Americans that contributed to the Fayetteville community. Among the many people of influence buried at Brookside is Robert Harris. He was the first principal of the Howard School, which became Fayetteville State University. There are many important educators buried here, to include Edward Evans, who spent over 40 years in the Cumberland County school system and served as principal both of Howard School and of the Orange Street School. When Brookside Cemetery was established, it was cut out next to Cross Creek Cemetery number 2 when the cemeteries were segregated. This is a one-track area of land with over 500 burials. When this land was set aside as a cemetery, the deed set out trustees. Robert Broadfoot was one of the trustees named in the deed for Brookside Cemetery. Also buried at Brookside is Bishop James Walker Hood, who played a big role in Fayetteville's history. He was involved in education after the Civil War, setting up schools for African American children. He was also a bishop in the African Methodist Episcopal Church and was very active in the affairs at Evans Church on North Cool Spring Street and was an active Mason. This beautiful marker is a tribute to Dr. Melcher, who started practicing medicine in Fayetteville in the late 1800s and carried his practice on through the 20th century. Another important educator and citizen was Dr. E.E. Smith, who was longtime president of Fayetteville State University, was also the adjutant of the 3rd North Carolina Regiment during the Spanish-American War, and was appointed an ambassador to Liberia. One of the things that people like to study when they come to cemetery are the beautiful hand-carved markers. This beautiful angel marker was done as a tribute by Mr. Jones for his wife. Mr. Jones was an African-American barber, and this angel bears testimony to his feelings towards his wife. At the bottom of the marker it says, "To the best woman." We're now standing at the family plot of the Chestnuts, one of the more important families in Fayetteville. Andrew Jackson Chestnut was one of the people that secured land for the Howard School that later evolved into Fayetteville State. He was also the father of Charles Chestnut, one of the most prolific authors in the South. His daughter, Ann Chestnut, was a longtime educator and supervisor in the school system. Ann Chestnut School is named for her. And also Ann's sister, Sarah Chestnut, was a longtime educator. After review by the Department of Cultural Resources, the Fayetteville City Council designated this a local landmark. Time will not permit us to explore all of the important people buried at Brookside, but I would encourage you to come and look through the cemetery, look at these very familiar names that have made a big impact on Fayetteville's early history.